Welcome, everybody,
Hey,
to Infinite Fantasy.
we're back.
We're here. We're ranking every piece of Final Fantasy media. That's what we do here.
That's what we always
That's
do.
what we always do. I am one of the hosts, Alex,
I'm Kevin.
and we're here. I mean, you know it. You see it in the title. The classic,
It's the big one.
the big one, Final Fantasy VII. But before we get to that, let's
Yes.
talk about Final Fantasy news.
Oh yeah.
We got-
Boop, 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 boop.
We got a few news items since we recorded last. Let me pull up my list of news.
It's a new year too.
It is a new year.
Yeah,
Happy
so
New Year.
much more new year, new Final Fantasy.
Exactly. So Final Fantasy VII Remake was released on the PC in the middle of December.
Oh sweet.
So everybody on PC is getting to play that. I've seen some fun people playing around with mods.
Oh
on that
nice.
game. It's good.
That's fun.
This looks good. I also watched the Game Awards in December,
Oh.
and Final Fantasy XIV won Best Community Support and Best Ongoing Game.
Oh wow, that's good.
So I'm excited to get to that game. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've heard so many good things about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then Chocobo GP got a release date. It's going to be released May 10th this
Nice.
year. Or no, sorry, March 10th this year.
Oh, even
sooner.
sooner. Hell yeah.
That game, I've been seeing so much about that game. They've been like posting about it on Twitter. It looks
Is that
so
the racing
fun.
one?
Yes, the racing
Yeah,
one.
that's actually exciting.
It looks really fun.
Yeah.
They also, let's see what else I have here. They announced the Sound Slayer wearable gaming speaker, Final Fantasy XIV Online Edition.
Okay.
It's a wearable speaker that goes around your neck,
Oh.
and it has a Final Fantasy XIV skin on it.
Okay.
So that'll be released at some point, and you can hear your favorite games on. It's like
It's like a headphones
Yeah.
without headphones.
yeah, it like goes on your shoulders and like has speakers in it
Yeah.
that play. It's so weird.
It's like, when people are wearing the earbuds, but they put them over their ears.
Yeah,
It's just like that.
there was I was at Best Buy one time, and they have glasses that have speakers in them. Like it's like instead of having earbuds, they just have speakers right where the glasses go to your ears.
Oh,
It's so weird.
that is
'Cause-
weird.
'cause
So
it
it just
also-
like hangs in your ear then.
No. It's just like a part of the glasses, so it looks like you're
Oh.
just wearing normal glasses, but like it somehow like shoots the sound into your ear, so no one else can hear it, but you can.
Whoa.
It was weird. It's so weird.
That
I mean,
is
they weren't
weird.
great quality, but
Yeah. that does sound weird.
yeah. What else we got? Oh, Final Fantasy VII Remake Ultimania was released.
Okay.
So they got that. We have the first two like Ultimania collections
Mhm.
here. Those are really cool. They got cool
Cool
concept art and like interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
They also released Chocobo GP Dash, which is a mobile game.
Ooh.
For it was released on the 12th of January, and it's like an endless runner
Oh, okay.
kind of game.
Yeah.
Didn't play it, but
Yeah.
you got that.
We'll see it at some point.
We'll check it out. And then one last thing I wanted to talk about was something very dumb.
Okay.
The Square Enix president, Yosuke Matsuda, released a statement at the end of the year talking about like what the next year of Square Enix is going to be.
Oh, great.
And he brought up a lot of dumb shit like the metaverse and the blockchain and NFTs.
Oh, no.
So it seems like Square is going to be getting into that dumb bullshit.
That we're going to have to start talking about Final Fantasy NFTs.
Yes. It's so stupid.
Oh, no.
It's so dumb. So like, first of all, he like mentioned the metaverse, which is a thing that Facebook just like made up. It's not even a real thing yet.
Yeah. What
They're
is
just-
that?
It's just like Facebook is envisioning a way where you can live online, like Ready Player One style. Like you put on a
Oh.
headset and just like go into like the metaverse, and like you can do your shopping and you can hang out with your friends in the meta. It's just like PlayStation Home.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, and it's not real. They didn't make it. It's a concept. And now a bunch of companies are trying to like be like, we're gonna be in the metaverse too. And it's like, okay, what is this for?
Yeah.
Like, it's just for like stockholders to like buy more stock of Square because they want to get into the metaverse or
Yeah.
whatever. So stupid. And then yeah, the blockchain NFT stuff is like a lot of video game people are getting into that.
Mhm.
So first of all, NFTs, stupid as hell.
Yeah.
Like for, not even to mention the like toll it takes on the planet, because like NFTs and cryptocurrency take up so much like power. Like,
yeah.
people don't realize that there are like server farms of people like just have a bunch of computers running in like a warehouse that is like mining cryptocurrency. Like there's a website that I found called digiconomist.net that shows how much Bitcoin like uses in like carbon footprint. They use the amount of carbon that the country of Kuwait uses every year is how much Bitcoin uses. The power that they use is comparable to Thailand.
Oh, wow.
And then every transaction, every Bitcoin transaction uses the CO2 equivalent of watching 178,000 hours of YouTube.
Wow.
Just one transaction. It takes up the power consumption of an average US household over 77 days. A single transaction has that much power. So Bitcoin, NFTs, blockchain shit, it sucks. It's going to kill the planet, but people love it because they can make money off of it very easily.
Yeah.
And video game companies are doing it like because they envision like you will get an NFT of an item, like a sword. Like say you got like a Buster Sword NFT, and they're like, you can bring that to a different game. You can bring your Buster Sword NFT to Fortnite. And it's like, first of all, you'd have to get a deal with Fortnite to even do that. And like why would I want to do it?
Yeah, why would you want to do that?
It's so dumb. But like I know Ubisoft has been like doing NFT stuff in their games where you can get like a gun in like Ghost Recon or something.
Okay.
And then they're like, yeah, maybe one day you'll be able to bring it to a different shooter game. It's like, I don't care. I would rather not do this because I know that blockchain shit and NFT stuff is taking up so much power. Yeah. So much carbon. Gonna be the death of the planet, but you know, maybe you can make a $20 selling your Buster Sword NFT, selling my cactuar with a hat.
I saw one. There was like this one that's like a monkey that looks like it looks like Eminem, and Eminem bought it.
Yeah.
He bought it for like $50 million or something.
Shit is so dumb. These people like with the NFTs, they think they're doing like art. They think they're doing like it's like the new wave of like Andy Warhol pop art, but they're not doing art. You know what they're doing? Garbage Pail Kids. Yeah. They're just doing Garbage Pail Kids. Like really expensive Garbage Pail Kids. Yeah. And you're like, I will buy your Eminem Garbage Pail Kid for $50 million or whatever.
And they're not even like real.
Exactly.
Like they're not even
it's
physical.
Just a picture.
Like you got it on a hard drive now. Like
that's like kind of what the video game stuff makes a little bit more sense than the like, pictures, because it's like you own this item in the game and you officially own it and you could theoretically transfer it to a different game, but it's still all fake. Yeah. It's not real. It's just it's stupid.
Like you're selling us an idea.
So Yosuke, quit it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Don't do it.
Do something else.
I've also seen so many video game developers say like, we're going to have NFTs in our game. And everyone online is like, don't do that. And they're like, oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So hopefully Square is going to be like, okay, no more of that.
Yeah. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
No one wants the Buster Sword in Fortnite.
Yes. I do not want to bring over my Chocobo into Call of Duty. Yeah. No, thank you. But anyway, that's all the news.
Excellent.
So far, a lot of interesting stuff coming up. Also, you know, Final Fantasy Origins, you know, Stranger of Paradise or whatever, that's coming out, I think, also in March.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of stuff to look forward to with Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're getting into it. Let's get into the game that we played.
Oh, yeah.
Final Fantasy VII. A true classic.
It really is.
I said when we started this project, that it was my favorite one before we have started playing all the other ones. And I guess we'll see if it is still my favorite.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
It was really good. I would say like it's like the magnum opus of Square Enix. Like obviously Final Fantasy like the original was their magnum opus basically, but like it absolutely is like the quintessential like Final Fantasy game.
Like we were saying this the whole time we were playing, but it's like a lot of the stuff in Final Fantasy VII is like they tried to do it in Final Fantasy VI. Like Final Fantasy VI feels like like 7.0 or like, you know, whatever, like
Yeah.
the beta version of Final Fantasy VII, where they're trying so many like to elevate their story and elevate their character arcs and elevate the cinematic quality of it and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like everything like is there for a reason. Like, and like there were a lot of moments where I got really confused in Final Fantasy VII, like due to like the story and like such a like they have a lot of like weird ideas that they're like going about, like, and we'll get into it later, but like Cloud's like memory loss and all that, like they just like really stepped it up from the previous games.
And I also wanted to talk about one thing that I recommend people read. Is there's a Polygon article called Final Fantasy VII: An Oral History, where it's by Matt Leone. They interviewed like people who made the game, people who like worked on the game, and it's, you know, it's like an oral history of it, so it's like through their words in the interviews, like how the development like happened and like how the story ideas came about. It's a super good article. It's really long, but it's very good, and I took some notes, so I'll bring some of that up along the way. But Yoshinori Kitase was the director of this game, and he's like super into movies. He's like a movie guy. So that's why this game is so much more cinematic than any other Final Fantasy game, because he's like, we got to make this like a movie, basically.
Yeah, what we gotta do. And they really did. Like, there were points where I just felt like I was watching a movie. Yeah, and it like with all the FMV cutscenes and stuff too, so sick. And they look beautiful.
Yeah,
like obviously they don't look great on the HD TV, but like they look beautiful for their time.
Yes. But yeah, I remember like I think this was even the first Final Fantasy game I ever played. I think
it was probably my first also.
Just so classic, and it was the first one I beat also. I hadn't beaten any other before this, I don't think. Like, I tried to play Final Fantasy 1 and stuff like that.
The first time I beat it was just now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, let's get into the story. It starts with a train. You're getting off a train. Cloud's there, Barrett's there, Biggs and Wedge, Jesse.
Yep, I think that's everyone.
The whole Avalanche crew. Avalanche is a eco-terrorist group, basically, that are trying to stop Shinra, who is a big corporation who's sucking energy from the planet, Mako energy from the planet, kind of like NFTs.
That's what I was gonna say. I was saying they're trying to stop Shinra from making the NFTs.
Yeah. Avalanche is trying to stop NFTs. Cloud is like a mercenary, so he just like got hired for this one job and then he's out or whatever. They blow up a Mako reactor, which is the life energy that is being sucked out of the planet.
Yep.
And they blow it up to like make a statement, and then Avalanche, they in turn like blow up part of the plate or whatever, because they live in a city called Midgar that has a like slums area, and then above the slums area is like the rich people that live literally above them on a plate. And like, so like the sun doesn't shine in the slums, and they have like artificial suns and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, they like blow up part of the plate and it falls on the slums, and they blame Avalanche for that. So that's what Shinra's plan is, basically. But before that happens, you meet like Tifa, who is Cloud's like childhood friend. You meet Marlene, Barrett's daughter, who he's like fighting for. And then yeah, everyone else is chilling there. You eventually meet Aerith or Eris, depending on what region you played in. Yeah. I think if it is Aerith is the official one.
But yeah, you meet her and then you go to her mom's house.
Yeah, exactly. So like you bump into her earlier in the game. She's like a flower girl selling flowers on the streets.
Yeah.
But then yeah, you meet up with her later. Cloud is like being chased. Oh no, Cloud like falls down after a boss fight at one of the reactors. And you meet up with her. She's being tracked by this group called the Turks, which works for they work for Shinra, and they do like their dirty work, basically.
Yeah, and they're trying to find her because she's what do they call them?
An ancient.
Yeah, she's an ancient, and basically like Shinra and like I guess the Turks are like trying to find the promised land.
Yeah, so like the ancients are like a separate race from humans that used to live on the planet before humans, and they can communicate with like the life stream of the planet.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've in their mythology, there's a place called the Promised Land, which later on in the game you basically just find out is like heaven. Like it's just kind of like their heaven.
Yeah.
But Shinra is under the impression that it's a real place that they can go to set up Mako reactors to make even more NFTs. So that's what their plan is. Yeah, it's to capture her, figure out where the Promised Land is, and then get there. So you're helping her out. You're defeating the Turks. Cool guys, Rude and Reno.
Yep, I forgot what the other girl's name is.
Elena.
I thought it was Scarlet.
No, Scarlet is one of the Shinra executives.
You're right.
But you go to the Shinra building after they drop the plate because you're like, we're gonna take care of these guys. And you meet up with like Hojo, who is a scientist for Shinra, who's doing these like human experiments. Like eventually the Turks capture Aerith, and that's why you're going there to rescue her. And so he's like experimenting on Aerith. He's also experimenting on a dog he called Red 13.
Because each of his experiments have numbers.
Yeah,
basically.
he like tattoos a number on them.
And so basically, like you go into the area that he's like doing stuff to Aerith and Red 13, and like at the time you don't know that Red 13's like cool.
Yeah.
But so you think that like the dog's
like
gonna you think the dog's gonna like hurt Aerith, but I think it gets like all filled with gas.
Yeah.
Inside the place that they're like held hostage, and Red 13 busts through the glass and like kind of causes like a diversion or whatever
to get everyone can get away.
And then you get away.
And then something else happens where you get captured by guards again, and you're in like a jail cell or whatever, like a brig. But then you wake up and everyone is like dead. The guards are all dead, and you don't know what's going on. You go up and the president of Shinra is dead, and he's stabbed with a big ass sword. And Cloud's like, "That's Sephiroth's sword."
Yeah, I mean, who else got a big ass sword?
Yeah, throughout the game, you're learning about Sephiroth, who is he used to be a soldier who were like an elite military force of Shinra's.
It's just called soldier.
It's just called soldier, like in all caps. I don't remember if it like stands for anything or not.
I don't think so.
But he's an ex-soldier who is supposedly dead. But he, his sword's here. He just killed a bunch of people apparently. So, and also in this lab there was something called Geneva. Genova. Jesus. Yeah, Genova. And that got stolen somehow. Which we'll learn about later. But Genova is a thing. You get there, you fight Rufus, who is President Shinra's son, who now is becoming the president of Shinra. He's just like a dumb kid.
Yeah, basically.
And then you escape Midgar. You leave, you're on the run, basically. You're trying to stop Sephiroth for whatever he's doing. Like, you don't know what he's doing. And you finally leave, you get to the world map, like 7 hours in or something, which is cool.
And when I first played it, when I was little, I don't think I ever got that far.
Nice. Yeah, so you get there, then you travel to a bunch of places. You go to, like, Mount Nibelheim, which is Cloud and Tifa's hometown.
Yep.
And you see, like, a flashback of when Cloud and Sephiroth went there when they were both soldiers, because Cloud is also an ex-soldier as well.
That's kind of why he went into Avalanche, just to like get away from it, and like because he was isn't Soldier part of Shinra?
Yeah, it's part of Shinra.
Yeah. So he just kind of wanted to get back at Shinra.
Yeah. And so you go there, you like relive some memories. You can also optionally meet up with Yuffie, who is like a ninja character, like a little teenage girl who's a ninja, but she's an optional character, so you don't have to meet up with her. But she is from Wutai, which is a like country that is opposed to Shinra or something. There was like a war with Shinra and Wutai forever ago, and now they're still kind of on rocky ground. So she's like a Wutai person. And what else happens? A bunch of shit.
Fort Condor's
there. That's like there's a big condor on it, and you're trying to defend it from Shinra because they're trying to get to its egg, which has
that has
materia in it.
Materia,
which is this game's version of like magic. So instead of learning magic spells like as you go, you equip this materia on your weapons, and you can have like an ice materia.
Yeah.
And then as you use your weapon, that materia will level up, and the materia will get like Blizzaga and stuff like that, and then you can take that materia and equip it on other people, and it will still have like the Blizzaga on it. So you're upgrading like the magic itself. You're not really upgrading people's magic and stuff. And so you can also get like summons that way and things like that, and support materia. Like you can add a modifier to your ice that's like all. Or like MP absorb, where like if you do this attack, it absorbs MP from the enemy and stuff.
There's
like
lots
that.
of interesting ones.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like when I think of like different fighting systems or like magic systems in Final Fantasy games, like I feel like I always think they can never make a new one,
and then they do.
And this one was great because like I had never really when I played when I was little, I never got to where there was materia.
Or like a bunch of it.
So like it was all new to me basically playing this game, and I thought it was really interesting, and they really did it well.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many like cool ones that you can find, like where
Quadra magic. That was good.
Where you cast a spell 4 times, or like a 2 times cut where you can do like a double attack.
Yeah. There's lots of like weird ones.
Yeah, like you can swap your HP and MP. That was another one.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
And then steal as well, where you can attach that to an attack. Like if you do a fire attack, you'll do fire and steel at the same time.
And then also the I can't even remember what they're called now. Materia. The materia is also used for summons.
Yeah, and there's a ton of summons.
Yeah, there is a lot of summons. But I think there's still more in 6.
Probably actually,
because there were a lot in 6.
There were a ton of in 6. What else happened? So who's the next character we meet? I guess is it Ketchi? Yeah, because we go to we go to what is the place called? Mount Corel, which is Barrett's hometown.
Yep.
And it's like a mining town that has been devastated by Shinra. Shinra came there forever ago and like wiped it out.
Yeah.
And Barrett had a friend named Dane, I think.
I think so.
Who he like did work with. And then at one point, Shinra comes and like tries to kill a bunch of people in the town, shoots off Barrett's arm, and now he has like a gun arm, as you can see in the game,
and shoots off his buddy's arm.
Yeah, I believe his name is Dane. Yeah. Let me double check that.
But they shoot off the opposite arm for him, and he has like a little like shotgun or something.
Dine, that's his name. Sorry.
Dine, okay.
Yeah, he has like a machine gun kind of thing, or some sort of like long barrel.
Yeah.
And you find out that Marlene, who is Barrett's daughter, was actually Dine's daughter. And he kind of took her on because Dine is supposedly dead. Like, he never heard from him again. He fell down, like, this canyon after getting his arm shot off.
Yep.
So he doesn't know about... And then he doesn't know where he is. You eventually find out Dine is alive, and he's, like, killing people. Because he lost his wife, he lost his, like, daughter, he lost everything. And he's just like... If I can't have him, like, I'm taking everybody out with me. And so you have like this really emotional scene with Barrett and Dine where they're like having a conversation on the edge of a cliff, and Dine jumps off the cliff.
Yeah.
It was wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
Really
I was surprised by it for sure.
But that's like one thing that I really like about this game is everyone has like little story moments like that are like really emotional and like affecting and stuff like that. Like even, I don't think we talked about it, but I think this happens before. Or no, this is after actually, but like all the Red 13 stuff is also really good.
But I would say like that is something they did better than for Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah,
because like for Final Fantasy
VI,
yes, they do. Because I remember like there was some stuff with like Locke and like Celeste, but like it definitely wasn't as powerful as it was in this game.
Yeah, because like everyone has like history in this game that you learn about. And like a past that comes back to them that in a really interesting way. Like obviously like Final Fantasy VI, some people had that, but then there was also like Mog who didn't have a character, or like Umaru.
And sometimes like I would say like the best example of this is with what was the kid that was in the I can't remember what the place was called, like the marsh place or whatever. He had like the green hair.
Oh, Gao?
Yeah, Gao. Yeah. Like his story felt like so like as a last thought.
Yeah.
Like it felt like they were like, oh, we need to give Gao something.
Yeah, let's just give him like a little thing.
And like with this game, like every single person's story, it felt like was thought out. Like
even the optional characters.
Yeah, even the optional characters. Like you could miss a lot about their story because like you can go and see Yuffie's dad,
Mhm.
and like
You
Vincent
have a whole
doesn't.
storyline with them.
Vincent doesn't have a lot, but like
He's like it doesn't have a lot, but he's at least like really tied in with the main story and like the main characters. Like his past is like it's important. Like even if you miss him, like obviously he's optional, but like his story is like important to learning about like the history of like Sephiroth. And
yeah,
stuff
exactly.
Like
and like even when we were talking with our dad, he said he never even knew who he was,
which you'll hear later on.
Yeah.
But what else? What's next? Where were we?
Well,
So
we were at the
Dine.
we were at the Gold Saucer because the reason why we found Dine was because we were there because we needed some kind of something from winning.
Yeah, we needed like an item at the Gold Saucer or something.
And we like broke the rules or something, so they sent us down into the
this, like prison camp that they have,
which is where you found Dine.
Yeah.
And that whole thing happens. He jumps off the cliff, and he was like the leader of that underground, I guess.
Yeah.
And so like he gave you permission to go back up to the Gold Saucer because they wouldn't let you out otherwise.
Oh no, you have to do like a chocobo race. Like there's everyone gets a chance to like win a chocobo race to get out of the prison or something, and that's what you do. And yeah, the Gold Saucer is like a casino up in the sky. And it's like, it's cool. You got a bunch of fun. Like there's like an arcade in there. There's a battle arena. There's chocobo racing that you can like bet on. And then also later on in the game, you can race in it if you like start breeding chocobos. Snowboarding. Yeah.
Lots of fun mini games.
A lot of cool stuff in there. Yeah.
There's like a shooter mini game.
Yeah. There's like a haunted mansion too that you go to at one point.
Oh yeah. And it's got the Kefka laugh.
Yeah. So you go there, you meet up with Ketchi, who is this like big robotic, like stuffed cat, I guess. Or no, I guess it's a big Moogle with a cat on top of it. And the cat is like the thing controlling the big robotic Moogle. But hold on. And yeah, you meet up with him at the Gold Saucer. He like works there, I guess. I don't know what the deal was.
I forget about that.
But you meet up with him, and then you go, like, what is next? There's a lot of stuff that like I don't remember the exact order of all this stuff.
Don't you go to the is it called Junon? The place with the big gun?
Before you do that though, you go to Cosmo Canyon.
Okay, yes.
Where you meet up with Red 13's grandfather, Bugenhagen.
Yep, my man.
Who's like a guy floating on an orb for some reason.
He looks like a Wiggly Town Heroes character.
And you learn that Red 13's real name is Nanaki. And he's like part of this like dog tribe that lives in Cosmo Canyon. It's like this like, you know, this mountainous area. And you learn about like his dad, who he thinks like abandoned him when he was a kid. And I don't think you learn more about him right now, but you eventually go back there and learn that like actually there was a big war that happened in Cosmo Canyon, and his father like died protecting the canyon, and actually is like still there.
As like a statue.
Yeah, because like the enemies that were there had like poison arrows that turn you to stone.
Yep.
And so he is like up on top of the canyon as like a stone statue with a bunch of arrows in him, like still protecting it. So, you know, Red 13 learns that like all this hate that he had for his father, it is actually not, it shouldn't be hate, because he actually died like protecting everyone, which is really nice. And that was a nice like side story.
Yeah.
There.
I think his side story was probably my favorite out of all the characters.
I think I still like Barrett's. I think Barrett's was like, there's just so much like drama that happens with Dine. It was so good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So after Cosmo Canyon, then we go to Junon, I think.
Yep.
Which it's like a place that has a big like Mako powered cannon. And there's a lot of Shinra folks doing like a parade or something.
Yeah.
It's for Rufus, for like his inauguration as president or something.
Because his father died.
Yeah.
But I know we like go up into that, and Cloud goes into like a disguise or something. He gets on one of the
like a Shinra soldier.
Yeah, and then there's like a little mini game where you do like the marching and you like do some signal moves. I think you get something like different depending on how good you do.
Yeah, because there's like TV recording you, and like the ratings, how good the ratings are determines what prize you get. But yeah, you do that, then you go. I think you go to like the north. Oh no, you go to Costa del Sol.
Yeah.
After that, and like hang out at like a nice beach town.
I love the music there.
Yeah, so good.
The whole vibe is so cool. It reminds me of Putt Putt.
Oh yeah, and like everybody gets to like go out on their own and like have fun like beach
Oh
day.
yeah, and then you see Hojo. He's like sun
right.
tanning with like a bunch of girls on the beach.
So after that, you go to Rocket Town, I think, where you meet Sid, who is like used to be like an astronaut who was gonna go up into space for Shinra, but then the rocket like didn't take off and is just like in the town now, like tilted.
Yeah, it kind of like fell over.
And he's just like a disgruntled like astronaut guy who is mad with Shinra for destroying his dreams of going to space.
Yep.
And you meet up with him. That's how you get your first like airship. Basically, is you're flying around on the Bronco, which is just a ship because it like breaks and can't fly.
Yeah.
But that you go around, you eventually find out that Sephiroth is like back as like a ghost or something, and he's trying to summon Meteor to. So. Like, he's like, I am the son of Genova, and I need to, like, bring us to the promised land or something like that. I need a lot of power, so I'm going to get the power from the life stream, but in order to get the life stream to give me its power, like, something bad has to happen to the planet. So he's like, I'm going to summon Meteor, it's going to come to the planet, the life stream's going to, like, come out, and I'm going to absorb the life stream, and I'm going to become, like, a god, basically, is what Sephiroth's plan is. Essentially,
yeah.
And there's like an ancients story about like the meteor materia that summons a giant meteor to destroy the Earth.
It's like the dark materia or something?
The dark materia. You also learn that the ancients are called the Cetra.
Oh yeah.
And you learn a little bit more about them at their like ancient city that they used to live in. And you go to like a pyramid, which is where the black materia or dark materia, whatever it is held. And you meet Sephiroth's ghost there, and it turns out Sephiroth's ghost can like control Cloud a little bit, like mind control him.
Yeah.
Because Cloud takes the materia, gives it to Cloud, and then Sephiroth makes Cloud like beat up Aerith, and Aerith runs away because she doesn't want to get beat up, obviously. And then it's also revealed at this point that Ketchi is Shinra-controlled robot being controlled by Reeve.
Yeah, but he's still good.
Yeah, he's still on their side. Like he's defected to their side, but he is like an inside man in the Shinra Corporation. What else? Yeah, so you then follow Aerith to the ancient city of the Cetra.
Yep.
You meet up with her there, and she's like praying at like an altar there. And then, obviously, the classic scene everyone knows.
Yep. Sephiroth comes down, cuts her open.
Yep.
The little bead falls out of her hair into the water.
So good. I forgot how good that scene is. Like, it's a classic scene, so you're like, it's good. But it's so good.
When the music kicks in right as the bead hits the ground.
Yeah, right as the... Yeah. Oh.
So good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, she dies. The Aerith dies. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Oh.
And they like lay her to rest in the city of the ancients, and everyone's really sad about it. But she used like the last of her power to try and you learn this later, I think, but she used the last of her power to like activate the holy materia, which is the only way, according to the ancients, that you can combat Meteor. Is by using the holy materia.
And wasn't that like the little bead?
Yeah, that was her holy materia that she had in her hair. So that happens, and then what else happens after that? Is that when Cloud goes crazy?
I think
like
so.
Cloud.
Oh yeah, he like goes. He's like in the life stream.
Yeah, he like falls into the life stream and then like gets life stream poisoning basically, and goes to like a hospital. He's in a coma essentially, and you have to play as like Sid for a little bit.
And there's like a weird kind of like dream sequence with Cloud, and like you see Aerith and stuff too.
Yeah,
it is pretty weird.
It was good though.
Yeah.
And then as you're going through this, the weapons get activated, which are these like ancient things that the Earth made to defend itself. They're like giant robot things, basically, like giant monsters that get awakened because of why do they get awakened again? You like go to like the North Crater,
Mhm.
and I don't remember what happened. Oh, it's because Cloud gives Sephiroth the materia,
Yeah.
right? Like you've been seeing Sephiroth throughout this whole game. Like he'll show up every once in a while, but then you go to the North Continent and you find out that Sephiroth is actually like in a crystal, like in a materia crystal or something. And the Sephiroths you've been seeing have been like parts of Genova.
Yeah.
But then Cloud is mind controlled to give the materia to Sephiroth, and I think that's what awakens the weapons because they were in the Northern Continent. So they're just like floating around. They're super bosses basically that you can fight. We tried.
We got 2 of them.
Yeah, we killed 2 of them.
Well, because one is for the
one's mandatory. Yeah.
Which one is that?
Diamond weapon.
Yeah, diamond weapon's mandatory, and then we got Omega weapon.
Yeah, or Ultimate weapon.
Or Ultimate weapon. That's what it is. And then Ruby and Emerald's just too hard.
Too hard.
We tried
very hard. We did try,
but Emerald weapon has like 1,000,000 health. So
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
But yeah, so through this coma that Cloud is in, Tifa tries to help him out. They both end up like falling into the life stream together because like an earthquake happens in the town they're in. They fall into the life stream, and Tifa's trying to help Cloud find himself because throughout this whole time he's like questioning his memories and like questioning himself, like misremembering certain things, and you find out that his memories are actually the memories of a guy named Zack, who was in Soldier. Cloud was actually never in Soldier. Zack was, and you learn that it was because of like an experiment with Genova cells. That's how they've been like making soldiers, is they've been infusing them with Mako and Genova cells to like make them super soldiers basically. And through that experiment, Cloud and Zack's memories like merged. So he has a lot of memories that are of Zack, but he thinks it's him. So that's like the memory of him going to Mount Nibble with Sephiroth. That was actually Zack.
Yep.
A bunch of stuff like that. A bunch of his memories are just false, not real. Even like the sword that he has, the Buster sword, is from Zack. It was Zack's sword. So that's like a big revelation that him and Tifa have together, and they finally like he learns about himself and he awakens from his coma, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to go. I've like learned who I actually am, and I'm not like second guessing myself anymore. We're gonna fuck this dude up. Oh, and like that whole scene is so insane at Mount Nibble, because I don't remember if you learned this now or not, but I think you learned this later. I don't remember when you learned this, but you find out that actually Zack went to Mount Nibble with Sephiroth and not Cloud, but then you find out that Cloud was there actually. He was like a grunt soldier, and he killed Sephiroth there. Like Sephiroth comes and is trying to steal Genova, who I don't think we've actually talked about so far, but Genova is believed to be an ancient, but turns out is like an alien that fell to Earth one time, and they've been doing like Hojo's been doing genetic experiments with it. Sephiroth believes that it's his mother, which it kind of is, but not really. So he's going to take it. That's what happened in Mount Nibble a few years ago in the past. But Cloud was there, and he like kills Sephiroth because Sephiroth tries to like attack a bunch of people. He attacks Tifa.
Yep. Tifa's got that cool hat.
Oh yeah, she got that cowboy hat. And there's like a sick scene with Sephiroth and Cloud where Sephiroth like stabs Cloud and like lifts him up with his sword.
Yeah.
And then Cloud just like swings him into a pit. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So sick.
That was really cool.
But yeah, so he finally realizes who he really is and comes to his senses. Then
wakes up from that coma.
Yeah, wakes up from the coma. We're all good to go. We haven't even talked about Vincent at all because he doesn't really come up in like the main story. But at some point you get to meet Vincent Valentine.
He's underneath the mansion
in Nibelheim.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in like a coffin. You find out that he is also being genetically experimented on by Hojo, and he like infused him with like a beast or something, so he can like go beast mode literally. But like it turns out Vincent was part of the Turks, and he was in love with I forget what her name is.
Oh gosh!
But it's Sephiroth's mom, like his real biological mother. Vincent was in love with her. They were kind of dating, and then Hojo kind of like got in the picture and took her away from Vincent, and took Vincent away and started experimenting on him because Hojo loved her basically, and that's
Yeah.
what is her name? Let me look her up. Lucretia.
Oh yeah.
Lucretia is like a scientist that Vincent is in love with. They're both in love together. Hojo gets rid of him. Hojo becomes in love with Lucretia, impregnates her, and gives birth to Sephiroth. That's how Sephiroth is born.
Yep.
Backstory for Sephiroth. And then Sephiroth is obviously infused with Genova DNA because Hojo loves experimenting on every fucking person.
Yeah.
There's also like
that.
another thing about like clones walking around, like Sephiroth clones.
Yeah.
Because they all have tattoos of different numbers. You
And
like
they-
find these people in black cloaks
Yeah.
all over the world.
And they just kind of like fall over when you get to them.
Yeah, because they're all going to the North Continent to do to fuse with Sephiroth, so
Yeah.
he can become like an ultimate form of Sephiroth, but it doesn't actually work because they all end up like dying or something because they're just like half-formed clones of him. That's a part of the plot that is going on. What else happens then? I guess they bring the cannon from Junon over to Midgar to try and take care of the weapons. Or no, try and take care of Meteor, right? They're gonna like shoot Meteor.
Yeah,
or
that's
something?
what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
I do remember at this time is like around when we go to Yuffie's like home.
Oh yes, to Wu Tai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to see like her little like side scene with her dad because like her dad's kind of just like he's kind of like not really happy with her, like how she's like been living and stuff. And then there's like this whole thing in like the pagoda, where you
have to like battle people.
Yeah, you go up like each floor, and then you get like her final
ultimate, like
limit, I think, which is pretty cool.
But yeah, that story is good because it's like her father is like a martial art master or something, and he's also like some sort of official for Wu Tai, and she's mad at him because he's been like complacent since the war. And Wu Tai should be its own culture and have its own stuff, but he's just been accepting of the Midgar, like the Shinra stuff. He's welcoming of Shinra.
Yeah, he's basically like made it like a tourist place.
Yeah, and she wants to restore Wu Tai to its former glory. And so you beat him up and bring him to his senses, and he's like, you know what, you're right. We should have Wu Tai be Wu Tai again. So that was good.
But then you go to like these mountains that are like in the back of Wu Tai, and then the Turks show up.
Right. Yeah.
I think this is around the time when Yuffie takes all your materia.
Yeah, she like takes all of your materia in your inventory.
And then I think like you go up to the mountain and like I think it's like Tifa and Yuffie like both
get kidnapped.
Yeah, get kidnapped and they're like hanging over the edge or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you like beat up the Turks.
Oh, and oh shit. Also, Don Corneo shows up there, who's someone we haven't talked about, who is like lived in like the slums in Midgar. He was like a slum king, and there's like a whole scene that I can't believe we didn't even talk about. There's so much in this game.
Yeah,
it's hard to talk about it all.
Yeah, but when Cloud has to get all the outfits,
get all dressed up in like drag because Don Corneo's looking for a wife. Tifa is there, so they're trying to figure out why Tifa's there,
and he ain't trying to talk to no man.
No. Gotta be a woman.
Gotta be a woman.
So you gotta dress up in like a dress and tiara and stuff. That's a good little side quest.
Yeah. But he's back.
He's back, and then you take care of him. Like,
you just beat him up.
He just teamed up with the Turks, but then it's like, no, get him out of here.
Yeah. I think that's it. Everything there.
Vincent also, his story wraps up with you go to like behind a waterfall, and there's like, I guess like the ghost of Lucretia or something that he talks to and has like a wrap up with her of their story where he because they never got like resolution for their like relationship.
Yeah.
So they talk and she's like, I did love you, but Hojo, he took you away from me and he made me give birth to Sephiroth and took our child away and experimented on him. So it's a nice like little like send off, and then her ghost kind of like disappears.
Yeah.
And he gets resolution.
Yeah, that was nice. I think then where do we go? Is that straight to or no, now it's back to Midgar because the diamond weapon is like on the way. Yeah, right? Diamond weapon's like,
or I don't remember exactly they just like have the cannon there and we're trying to stop them from using the cannon because it's not going to work on the meteor. And again, we're missing so much stuff because I also remembered the part where you go up into space with Sid in the rocket ship. because they're going to try and stop the meteor with the rocket ship. But then it turns out that's not going to work, so they turn the rocket ship back or something.
I forgot about that.
There's so much stuff that happens in this game.
Yeah.
It's a really good game. Play it.
Great.
But
and there's so much stuff you can like miss too.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you could just literally miss everything with Yuffie and everything with Vincent. And like even stuff about Cloud and Zack, like
you can miss a lot of that.
There's so much you can miss because like the scene where Cloud takes Zack's sword,
you can miss that. See Zack die and everything.
Yeah, you'll miss that for sure.
But I guess at this point, like we should just get to the end, right? I don't think there's much else to talk about. I mean, the main thing I wanted to get across is that all the characters in this game have really good story arcs that I think really like pay off, and they all like interweave into the main plot of the story, which is something that I they tried to do in Final Fantasy VI, and I don't think they really did it successfully because obviously there were a lot of characters that just didn't have backstory at all, like Go-Go and stuff like that. But I think they really do a good job of like weaving everyone's story into the main story, and everyone is like important in the story. Absolutely.
Even like this, like the side people, like the Turks and stuff. Yeah, like, they're super important to the story.
And they have like they also have great story arcs too, where like, they end up kind of like almost being friends with you guys too at certain points. Because
at Wutai, right?
Yeah. They're like on vacation.
They're in the turtle place. What is it called?
The turtle's paradise. Or something. It's like a bar,
and they're like, it's our day off. We don't gotta do anything. Yeah, that's fun.
So you end up. I guess this is the point where you parachute down into Midgar. You infiltrate the Shinra building again. What did you even do there? What did we even do there?
I think we were like,
we were just trying to stop them from using the cannon, and
that's where we fight the big, what's his name?
The
Rufus?
big robot.
Or no. Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We already fought the guy that is like the head of Shinra, right?
When did that happen?
I feel like that happens, and then they shoot the weapon with the rocket or whatever.
I think all that happens at Junon, I think, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it's at Midgar.
Is that at Midgar? Oh,
the thing's like coming out of the ocean and it's going towards Midgar, and they point the thing at it, and it does it kill the weapon?
Yeah, or it like drives it off or something. Yeah, and it becomes a different weapon. I think that's
like where we get rid of like the new. I forget what his name is.
Rufus.
Is it Rufus?
Rufus. Yeah. But then there's also Heidegger and Scarlet, who are also like Shinra executives who are also trying to shoot or get rid of Meteor somehow. But you fight them as well. They're in like a big robot.
Yeah. Oh, what do they call it?
Proud Claude.
Yeah, Proud Claude.
So you do that, and you leave Midgar, and you go to the North Continent.
There's just a huge crater in the ground.
Yeah. You also, there's like a scene where Cloud is like, everyone go to your families, go to your people you love, and if you really want to fight for them, come back the next day and we're going to fight for them. But if you just want to stay with them until the end, you can do that. And then everyone ends up coming back anyway, because they're like, we believe in the fight. We want to save the world. Like we want to save the life stream. So we're going to do it. Even if it seems impossible, we'll do it.
Yep.
And then, you go down into the big crater.
You fight them.
You fight Genova.
Yep.
You fight Hojo also. Back in Midgar before you leave, you fight Hojo. And he's like infused himself with Genova DNA and becomes like a weird like ghost guy.
And that's when he tells you that he's
Sephiroth's father.
Dead, yeah.
So you go down, you fight Genova, the actual Genova. And then you fight Sephiroth, who has like fused with Genova and fused with the black materia and stuff like that. He's like gone crazy, like a weird crazy body now.
He's got the whole angel form.
Yeah, angel wing, one-winged angel. And you hear One-Winged Angel, a classic.
There's banger.
Everyone listening, you gotta watch the Nobu Uematsu video where he explains how he wrote One-Winged Angel. It's so good.
That's great.
It's like Nobu Uematsu straight up is like, I make music sometimes, and he's like one of my biggest inspirations. He's such a good composer, and that video is like, it's great to see how his mind works and how he composed One-Winged Angel, which is like, you hear it all the time, but it's truly one of the best.
Yeah,
it's one of the best songs.
I would say
it's
like,
a banger.
Besides like the Mario theme song, like it's one of the most iconic songs ever in video games.
It's crazy. It's more iconic than even the Final Fantasy theme. Like
like the do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so, and it's like you can also see the progression of like where Final Fantasy VI was with the opera scene, and then him even getting more operatic with One Winged Angel, and like going into like the Latin opera singing and stuff like that. It's so good.
Oh, so good.
You fight, you defeat him.
Then there's the like after you beat his One Winged Angel form, then everything starts falling apart.
Yeah,
and you kind of go into the life stream a little bit, and there's the scene where it's just you and Sephiroth, and his like shirt's off for some reason.
Yeah, you're like, it's like a mind fight or something. Yeah. Like it's like you're in like a mental space. It's not like a physical place.
And then you just Omni Slash him. He's all bloody and he dies.
Yeah,
he kind of just like explodes.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Cloud like snaps out of it, and then Tifa's like, "Hey, you gotta come on," and then you get out of there.
Yeah, but then Meteor's still coming.
Oh yeah.
So it comes down. The holy materia like activates itself, but it's too late. It's still coming down onto the planet. But then some green stuff starts coming out of the planet, and it's the life stream. So like the planet itself is defending itself using the life stream, trying to push Meteor away, and then Meteor ends up like just like dissolve. Like what is? Yeah,
I think that's what happens. It just kind of like leaves.
Yeah, and then it's all good. The planet's saved. Everyone's happy. I think at the end of the credits, you see Red 13 with his children running around. The like obviously Midgar got like fucked up and destroyed, so you see like a destroyed Midgar. And yeah, that's Final Fantasy VII. And again, there's so much other shit to talk about.
Yeah,
too.
So much side stuff that we didn't mention.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like what did I want to say? Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about like chocobo breeding. Like there's a whole thing you do with chocobo breeding.
That was
where
a
you
lot.
have to get like the best chocobo. You have to get you have to go from like the blue and purple or blue and green chocobos. Then you get like a black chocobo, then a gold chocobo, and there's a bunch of shit you have to do with that. And that's how you get the Knights of the Round summon, which is the best summon in the game. Yep. It also like lasts for a really long time. It's like a long animation.
I do remember one place we didn't talk about was the Bone Village.
Oh yeah,
which is like
the entrance to the ancient city.
Yeah,
City of the Ancients.
One thing I liked about that place was like there were little like items you could get from them because like there
were people like digging there.
Yeah, you could like place someone to make them mine like in that specific location, and then you can get whatever item is there.
Yeah,
which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, you can get like mega elixirs and stuff like that. You have to do it to get like a key item in the game, but you can also like mine up mega elixirs and things like that. It's really cool.
Yeah. There's like a lot of mini games in this that are like so much fun. Some of them are just okay, but like snowboarding's great. Yeah, like chocobo racing's great. My favorite mini game though has to be Fort Condor.
Of course, yeah.
Shout outs Fort Condor.
It's like a tactical like RTS. Yeah, basically, it's so cool.
And there were a lot of times like you can just basically finish it just by killing like the first two enemies like before any others spawn, and it just ends. Yeah, and that was like my favorite whenever we did that.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what else to talk about because again, there's like this game's chock full of stuff, and it's all good. It's all great. There are a few other things I wanted to talk about in the oral history that are interesting. In the interview, Tetsuya Nomura, he was like the character director. I forget what his title was for this, but he was also kind of like on the direction team for this game, so he had a lot of input into like what the characters looked like and their stories and stuff like that. Obviously we know Tetsuya Nomura as the Kingdom Hearts man, so you can see a little bit of Kingdom Hearts progressing here with like the character design. But he said this game was originally going to take place in New York instead of Midgar, and it would still have Mako reactors, and the main character was going to be called Detective Joe.
Okay.
Instead of Cloud, Detective Joe in New York.
Oh, great. That's so good.
I'd love to see that game.
They really went from what was her name in Final Fantasy VI? Terra.
Yeah.
Like Terra and Celeste to Detective Joe.
Yep, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And speaking of Final Fantasy VI, you can watch like videos of it online when they were trying to test out 3D modeling and stuff like that, because it's obviously a new thing for Final Fantasy. They made like a Final Fantasy VI 3D test where you have like, I think there's Locke and maybe Terra are like modeled in a Final Fantasy VII style, and they're fighting an enemy.
That's so cool.
So that video is really cool to watch. Also, so obviously this was the first game that was not on a Nintendo console as well.
Yeah.
They had like a deal with Nintendo, and there's a whole section in the oral history about what led to the decision of moving to Sony and everything like that. And it was mainly because the discs had better space.
Yep.
Like you could add a lot more space than a cartridge, and you could have a lot of stuff in there, better quality, like, you know, better quality animation and sound and everything like that. So that's kind of mostly why they moved over there. But they said like the break from Nintendo was fine, but a programmer named Hiroshi Kawai reportedly said that he heard Nintendo say, if you're leaving us, never come back.
Oh, great.
So apparently Nintendo was really sour about the move from Nintendo to PlayStation, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
And then the last note I had was Yoshinori Kitase and Tetsuya Nomura are talking to each other in the interview at one point. And apparently Kitase originally wanted when you parachute into Midgar at the end of the game, you like choose your party of like people you want, and originally all the other people that weren't in your party would die while parachuting into Midgar.
Wow. Just while parachuting?
Or just something would happen and they would all die. Everyone except for your party would die.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. Just right at the end of the game, just like 5 characters dying.
Oh, wow. Glad they didn't do that.
Yeah. But I wish they had Detective Joe.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget about Detective Joe.
But yeah, like, one other thing I wanted to note is this game, I don't know, there's something about it that I noticed when we were playing. It's got like some daddy issues.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this game is all about like mothers and like appreciating mothers.
That's
obviously
true.
Like Sephiroth has like Genova, and then also Mother Earth or whatever is a big factor in this. But then like also, you know, you have Red 13 has like daddy issues.
Yeah.
There's like the whole you can kind of see it with like Barrett and Dine, where Dine is like a problematic father that Barrett is trying to keep away from. Yeah, and Yuffie as well with the father. And so there's just a lot of like dad stuff going on in this game that is really interesting to get into. Like I didn't give it a ton of thought, so I can't really get further intellectually in depth with it. But it's just something to look for if you're gonna play this game. There's a lot of like father stuff that goes on, and mother stuff, obviously, but father stuff. But speaking of fathers,
so Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that was one of those games that I saw you play that I had to try because I heard so much about the thing. And probably one of the longest games I ever played in my lifetime.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we just finished it. We just beat it. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, for the podcast people, this is our father, Joel.
Hello, everybody in YouTube land.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I wanted to talk to you because, you know, thematically, Final Fantasy VII has a thing about fathers that we'll talk about in the actual podcast. But, you know, and I know this was one of the only Final Fantasy games you played, so we wanted to talk to you about it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Have you played any other Final Fantasy games or like done anything else with Final Fantasy?
I tried a little bit of the 8.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I didn't quite get into it. I had to stop because then I realized, man, how much time that I invested in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I must have played that game for like 6 months. I remember when I got started playing that game, I was into it like so far. I'm like, man, I'm still on the first disc.
Yeah, and like Final Fantasy VII has like 3 discs, and Final Fantasy VIII has 4 discs. Yeah. So it's even longer, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, good luck on that one.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
See if I can get my lighting a little bit. I look a little cryptic here.
Oh, we probably won't use the video anyway, so.
Okay.
But you've played Kingdom Hearts also, right?
Oh, right.
Kingdom Hearts as well, yes.
Because that's technically a Final Fantasy game, because they have the Final Fantasy characters in it.
Because it has a lot of the characters and stuff from a lot of the Final Fantasy games in there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I really enjoyed Final Fantasy VII. The story was great.
And
so far, all I did is play the demo of the remake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the remake is really good.
Talking about that right now anyway, so you want to get ahead of yourselves.
But I really like the remake. But, yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
I like the demo. It looks really nice.
Yeah, yeah. The graphics are like crazy good in that game.
They did a very respectful job of that game, I would have to say. You know, it's kind of like almost like a love letter to all the fans actually like that game.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then I'm excited to like get to it.
Pick that up. I haven't got that disc yet because I'm kind of waiting for the next part to come out too.
Yeah.
So that I can play it through. You know
I think they said they're doing like 3 parts. I don't remember how many they said they're doing. Something like that.
Well, the planet that they're on at the first part of the game, that's all that first game is, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
It's just like the first like 5 hours of the original game is what they have in the remake.
So yeah, they don't have the casino or any of that stuff on there yet. No chocobo races.
Yeah, but they like fleshed out everything in that area, so it's like a full 30-hour game or something. It's weird.
Yeah, I haven't played any of it.
In the remake, did they have Cat Sith?
Yeah, he shows up for a second in it as like a
cameo.
It's like an Easter egg thing, but he's not like a full character yet, so they'll probably do that in the next game, I think.
So just to kind of show you what things are going to come.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that game is cool.
How long did it take you guys to beat Sephiroth at the end of that one?
Oh, we didn't. It didn't take us that long.
It was pretty easy,
actually. We were like a pretty high level, so
yeah.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah,
and we had like the ultimate
was one of the
summon.
boss fights I think I ever had right there.
Yeah,
it was really hard. The one that I remember Alex having trouble on was there's like this one in like the middle of like some. It's like when you're about to fight Sephiroth for like the first time, like before Aerith dies, and it's like the thing that's in like the wall.
Oh yeah, it's like barrier wall thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one was tough before. It was tough for us when we played.
It's so long since I played that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the one character from Final Fantasy VII, the guy that has the rifle.
Oh, Vincent.
Yeah.
Vincent. Do you know? I was like looking at the game after I got done playing it. And I saw his character. I'm like, who the heck is that?
Yeah.
There's missed him altogether.
There's 2 characters you can miss in that game.
Have a big old blunderbuss, you know.
Yeah, there's him. There's him, and then Yuffie you can miss technically in that game.
Yuffie I am getting.
Oh yeah. That's funny though.
At least.
Yeah, I think if I didn't look up
game.
how to do it.
Epic story too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The writing in that game is so good.
Yeah, it's definitely because we played like Final Fantasy VI also, and you can definitely tell that they were like trying some stuff in Final Fantasy VI that they really like perfected in Final Fantasy VII. It seems like having it be super cinematic and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have all those cutscenes, like the full motion cutscenes that were really cool in that game.
Yeah. And they look
so how
great.
many hours did you guys spend trying to get through that game?
Probably like 30 or something.
I would say 30.
Yeah,
really?
I think. Yeah. So it wasn't too. Well, we were using a guide also.
Well, you had a guide.
Yeah. Well, because we have to play so many. Yeah, we have to play so many Final Fantasy games. We just figured we should just use guides so it doesn't take us 100 hours every game.
Yeah, I don't blame you there at all.
Yeah.
Trying to find all the secret stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And what's this golden? Isn't there a golden
Chocobo?
Yeah, that one.
Yep, we got it.
Did you get that?
Yeah, we got that. That took us like 4 hours or something.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Because you have to like breed them and race them and stuff. It's a whole process.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But we did try to fight the weapons also, but we did not get very far with that.
Yeah, there's like extra bosses that you can fight in that game.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one that's like under the ocean.
I'd have to go try to play again sometime.
Yeah, yeah, I recommend it, and yeah, I recommend the remake too, because the remake is like it's less of a remake and more of almost like a half sequel to Final Fantasy VII in a weird way.
Yeah.
So you'll have to check that out. That's really good one day.
There's a lot of extras to it. If they're going to spend all that time down on the first planet.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra
sure
stuff.
They added a lot more to the story. And
yeah, definitely.
Lots of side missions.
Yeah, for sure.
Go do, yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, I mean, I guess that's all we wanted to talk to you about for the final. I mean, we will talk more, obviously not on the podcast. But yeah.
Okay, I'll definitely look forward to seeing that.
Thanks. Thanks for being on.
Yeah.
All right, love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you.
Keep on playing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's rank it.
Oh yeah, I think I'm.
So let me
I'm
pull
prepared.
up the lists. So we're gonna start with the most enjoyable.
This is a tough one because like I'm just gonna say like skip all of them up to Final Fantasy VI.
We're basically determining if 7's gonna be number 2 or number 1.
Exactly, and this is what I think. It was very enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Very Final Fantasy.
Yes.
But I would have to say I liked playing Final Fantasy VI more.
Really?
Yes, but I do think that Final Fantasy VII is more of a Final Fantasy game than Final Fantasy VI.
You know, I feel the opposite.
Oh, really?
I liked Final Fantasy VII more. Like I said, it was my favorite before we started this project.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still my favorite. It's so cinematic and like dramatic and beautiful in a lot of moments, in which Final Fantasy VI is, obviously. I don't want to like say that it's not.
Definitely.
But like I said, it seems like Final Fantasy VI was a step in the direction of Final Fantasy VII, and Final Fantasy VI walked so Final Fantasy VII could run, you know?
Definitely.
And I feel like Final Fantasy VI is more Final Fantasy than this game. I don't know. This one seems like it's kind of its own thing, even though anytime someone mentions Final Fantasy VII is the one people think of.
That's true.
I still think in general, the franchise that we've been playing, I think it's less Final Fantasy than Final Fantasy VI. It's kind of like its own beast a little bit.
Yeah, I do see that. I would say like all of the other Final Fantasies are a little more like medieval.
Yeah, or not. Yeah, kind of.
Because like they're still futuristic, but like more like
Castles
olden,
and,
castles, olden times, like swords and stuff. Like there's not usually many guns.
Right. And so this one is they're definitely bringing it into a more futuristic setting with this game.
Absolutely.
And like a more modern, where only Cloud has the sword and everybody else has their own sort of weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. Like most enjoyable.
It's hard.
I think I enjoyed it more than 6. Just very slightly.
I know.
Obviously 6 is really good, and we talked about that on the episode.
Yeah.
But again, I also think that like comparing Kefka to Sephiroth 2, Sephiroth's plan makes, obviously it's stupid, but it makes more sense, and you can almost sympathize with him in a way where
definitely.
It's like your life is just fucked up, man. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
I see what led you to this.
Yeah.
You got some shit going on in your life with your father and your mother.
Yeah. I would say I think I do agree on most enjoyable, actually, because now that I think about it, like there's so much more, like not just like the story is great, obviously, but like there's so much more sidewise than with Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah,
like,
and all the side stuff is like I was saying earlier, like it all ties into the plot in really interesting ways. Nothing seems like random in Final Fantasy VII. Everything is like very considered and in there on purpose. And not that stuff in Final Fantasy VI was. It just seemed like a lot of that stuff was just like there's this that happens and like the Phantom Train happens and stuff like that.
I would say I could like go back and play like more of Final Fantasy VII, but like I feel like I wouldn't get much more out of Final Fantasy VI if I were to play it again.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. The thing that I was thinking about with these games is like they have the great quality of a video game that I like to look for, where it's like I'm sad that it's over. A lot of the Final Fantasy games, I'm like, these kind of went on for too long. Like with Final Fantasy, what was it, 5, where it's just like 3 different worlds that you go to. It's like I'm done with this. Final Fantasy 6 and Final Fantasy 7, both of them had that quality where it's like I'm sad. I'm gonna be sad that I'm not going to see these characters anymore. Like they're going away. And there are sequels to. I think there's even a sequel to 6. Or no,
I'm sure we'll see them in the fighting games.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll see them in a bunch of other stuff. But it's like I don't want to let these guys go.
Yeah,
I want more story with these people.
I agree.
So are we putting it at the tip of most enjoyable?
I'd say tippity top.
Let's put it at the tippity top. Final Fantasy VII, the number one most enjoyable game, just barely edging out Final Fantasy VI.
Yes,
I guess
very,
no
very
hot
close.
takes here.
Yeah, no.
From us. We're not saying
we ain't throwing it all the way at the bottom.
No, we're just spitting the facts. Final Fantasy VII is a great game.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
one of the greatest games ever made.
Definitely.
like
it's
hard to argue that.
Like arguably the best RPG ever made.
Yeah, and like brought RPGs like into the mainstream in America also, which is another thing they talk about a lot in the oral history, like how big of an impact this game had, not just like on the world of RPGs, but like bringing JRPGs into like American audiences and stuff like that. Just a very impactful game, a very influential video game as well.
Absolutely.
But most Final Fantasy, let's talk about this. I don't think it's more Final Fantasy than Final Fantasy VI. I think Final Fantasy VI is a little bit more. It's got like everyone's classes are more clear cut. It feels like in Final Fantasy VI, it's hard to like classify like classes with a lot of the people in 7. Like Cloud is like a warrior, I guess.
Yeah.
Yuffie is like a thief or a ninja, I guess, because she throws things. But like I don't know, they all kind of have their own like personalities. They don't really fit in very well. But obviously this game has like summons and the materia are kind of like crystals. There's airships, there's Cid, chocobos, Moogles. Like there's the whole gamut.
Yeah, I think I think now that I think about it, I do have to agree. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like. I feel like Final Fantasy VII is much more like open. Like even though Final Fantasy's always been open, like it's hard. Like I feel like in my mind, Final Fantasy games like they show you like what they mean. Like with like how the map is laid out. Like this is what this is, and like this is what this character is, and stuff like that.
It's very like you know this guy.
Yeah, like
he
uses bows.
Yeah,
stuff like that, and like
he's a berserker. Look at him.
This is a shop. Like with Final Fantasy VII, I would have to say you have to like look around for meanings of things more.
Yeah, there's a lot more like metaphor used in this game, and like conceptual stuff, like with all the live stream scene with Cloud and Tifa is like so good and so wild and out there. But yeah, I think I don't know. Are we gonna put it below 6? What about Final Fantasy V also? Is it less Final Fantasy than 5 even?
That's true. That I might actually think, because like Final Fantasy V to me is just 3 Final Fantasy games.
Stacked.
And so like that one is very Final Fantasy. Yeah. But maybe, I think it's just part of me like telling me that Final Fantasy VII has to be at the top. Yeah,
it might be, but I really do feel like it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Like it's very singular. It's not they really like went wild with this one.
See, now I'm starting to think like, so what's our list for most Final Fantasy?
We got Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy III is next. That one introduced the job system.
Yep.
Had a Cid, had multiple worlds and stuff like that.
See, now I'm starting to think, should we put it lower?
Should we put it even lower than 3? I mean, I don't know about that actually, because 3 is very Final Fantasy, but I don't know. That's true.
That is a tough question.
Know. Maybe let's keep going. Final Fantasy 4.
I mean,
I even think 4 is more Final Fantasy.
I know. That's what I'm thinking.
Wow. Okay. Well, Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals. I think we got to stop.
Yeah, we
there.
can't. We cannot do that. There's no way we could justify that.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to put it. So I think Final Fantasy VII is the 5th most Final Fantasy thing we've done on this show.
Yeah,
which is wild. Like
it's quite a hot take.
But it is a hot take. But I think it's true. I think like Final Fantasy VII is it's like its own genre.
Yeah,
almost like it's its own. It is a Final Fantasy game, but even, they brought it into like a modern day setting and a futuristic setting. Like they did a lot of shit with this game that is like out of the box for Final Fantasy games. But yeah, that's all. That's all we got for this episode.
Yep.
What's up next? We got Final Fantasy Tactics next. Yep. It's exciting. We're also going to be doing a little video feature about another video game that is not technically a Final Fantasy game, but has a Final Fantasy character in it. We're going to be releasing a video about Toe Ball 2.
Oh yes, my favorite.
So check that out on YouTube. That is a fighting game that has a chocobo in it that you can play as.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit, but that's not going in like the main ranking, obviously, because it's not officially a Final Fantasy game.
Wish we could find it though.
Yeah, because we can't find it.
We just gotta look at videos, but wish we could find it.
So check that out on our YouTube channel. And then next up, Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, yes.
I have not played Final Fantasy Tactics.
I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, me too. I've heard great things. Sean, who was on our Final Fantasy VI podcast, he said it's a great game. He's been playing it a little bit.
I love like strategic like RPGs like that.
Yeah, like Fire Emblem and stuff like that. So I am excited to play that game.
Yeah.
I've heard really good things, and we're gonna do it. And we're gonna check it out, and you're gonna hear it.
You're gonna hear it next time.
Next time on Infinite Fantasy.
Yep.
Goodbye, folks.
See ya.
See ya.